Hello everyone and welcome to Nurturing Duality. My name is Laura Coleman and I full body channel Archangel Michael. And in today's call, it really is a message about truth, but more specifically your soul's truth. And what are you ignoring and what are you not allowing into your life by ignoring that truth? They also spoke about releasing what no longer serves you and how you are blocking the abundance of the universe. That was very resonant to a lot of us on the live call. The last thing that they spoke about more in depth was 3-1 Atlas, and that is the interstellar that is headed towards Earth and the consciousness that is really coming with that comet. And so these messages, they coincide and they go hand in hand, because you cannot bring the light in if you do not release what no longer serves you. And so again, it was resonant, and please know that these messages I am not excluded to by any means. They are absolutely as much for me as they are for you. So just because I'm the one channeling, it doesn't mean that I am at a higher state of consciousness than you, or a higher state of evolution than you, because they were absolutely eye-opening to me as well. The call today was co-facilitated by my dear friend Stephen Warner. He is a Reiki master and teacher of 6+ years. He has his own spiritual practice, and the way that he is able to just stay so centered and present during these calls, but also his ability to speak with a voice of clarity, and how he can just like articulate the wisdom of the divine and the questions of those of us on the call and bring it together in a cohesive manner. I'm just in awe of his gifts and abilities. And so if you feel called to work with him and you really resonate with his energy, all of his information will be in the description box. Please check it out and reach out. He's just the most down-to-earth person I know. So yeah, he's good stuff. A couple things that I do want to just communicate for those of you who have not seen me full body channel before, or you just have questions about how I work and that process. How I tap in is I yawn, and that's how they raise my vibrational frequency. And you will see at some points during the call where I have resistance to the message or what's coming through. I'm having a little bit of difficulties, and they'll just mid-sentence have me yawn to raise my frequency so that they can bring the message through more clearly. Also, another thing that a lot of people question: when Archangel Michael steps through, he starts usually the message with I, but eventually there is a blended version of I, we, and us. And although Archangel Michael is the one that is speaking, it is a collective of archangels and angelic frequency. And so that can get confusing if you don't realize that or understand, because you're like, wait, he's saying we, but he's the one that's stepping through. I'm a little confused, and it is him speaking. It is him embodying his essence in my vessel, but the collective message is from all of the angelics and the other archangels that are present. So that, like I said, that can get a little confusing if you don't know that. And then the last thing that I just want to share, I was speaking with a friend of mine, and they brought it to my attention that the last call, it seemed to be geared towards those of us who were on the live, and it wasn't really for the collective. And I do want to share that anytime the guides, Archangel Michael, the angelics, say light workers, those of us, humanity, whatever verbiage they use, it is absolutely for the collective. If this video found you, it is for you. It is your guides, it is your angels, it is your higher self bringing this to your consciousness, because there is information in here for you to integrate into your life. And while there will be small moments of time during the call where they may be specifically talking to those of us on the live call, that is far and few between, and it is just a minuscule moment in time versus the entirety of the video. So If this resonates with you and you want to see more of these videos, hit the subscribe button, because one of the things that I am supposed to be releasing is the fear of me putting myself out there, my gifts out there. And there has been messages that I am supposed to be sharing that I'm just holding on to that fear and I'm not releasing it. And we do these live calls once a month, and I am supposed to be putting content out there, and more specifically messages and guidance out there between the 1 month calls, and those will be coming. They will be coming. I am working through that fear as we speak. So like I said, this message was just as resonant to me as it was to you if you found this. So yeah, hit subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this video as much as we did. The energy was just amazing. Oh, one last thing. These videos are always encoded with energetic frequency and vibrations. And so if you are sensitive to the energies, you may very well feel the energies from this call. But if you don't feel it, and if you aren't sensitive to energies, please know that it is working through you, and the divine is really allowing this message and the frequencies to be integrated just by watching the video. So again, hit subscribe if you want to see more of these videos, and I hope you enjoy. Hi, Archangel Michael in here. And the message that we want to bring forward today is a message of truth. And again, this isn't going to be a message that is complex. It is going to be a message that can be simplified for everyone to understand. A lot of times messages come through for the collective that use wordage and ideas and thoughts that are beyond comprehension of some individuals, and it doesn't reach the masses, and it doesn't land the way that we intend it to land. And so the truth that we want to speak is the inner voice within each and every one of us. That inner voice needs to be the guiding light of your life. That is your soul speaking. And the light workers who are supposed to be on their path and directing those unconscious souls to the light, a lot of them are not listening to that inner voice, that truth of their soul. And through that truth is the wisdom of all of your past lives coming through you. And that wisdom is guiding you to your purpose, your soul's purpose, your mission in this reincarnation. And we feel like a lot of you are lost on your path. You kind of swerve back and forth between getting a glimmer of hope, and then you're off in the bushes again, and you can't seem to find your way back to your path. And that is a very common theme in this period of time, because the scales are tipping in the other direction. And that can be very disorientating for a lot of us who are sensitive to the energies and the shift in consciousness. But we want to reassure you that your souls are screaming the truths to you, but you are distracted. And that distraction is only leading you further from your path. And so what truths are you keeping in the dark and not shedding light on those situations? What truths are trying to come through you to be birthed out of creation to assist others in their paths of consciousness? How are you continuing to perpetuate the cycle of unconscious behaviors But consciously, you know those unconscious behaviors do not serve the greater good. They do not serve your soul's mission. We are saying this with tough love, but we want you to feel the love emanating from this message. Because this tough love serves a purpose. And that purpose is to get you on your path. Because when you are not in alignment with your soul's purpose, the disassociation you have with that path can turn your life upside down in all the wrong ways. And a lot of you feel this in areas of your life. And you're wondering why you can't seem to get out of this pattern or why the same situation keeps happening. But it keeps happening because you are not listening to your soul. And the universe, God, Christ, whatever you want to call it, is going to repeat the same lessons until you learn those lessons. And you have free will here on earth. That is the beauty of the human experience. But that free will can also harm a lot of the things that are meant for you, the abundance that the universe is trying to hand you on a silver platter. And that abundance is being blocked because you are afraid to step out of the norm. You are afraid to be different. But that uniqueness about you that makes you different is what is going to bring that abundance that you so wish, that you so seek, that you so pray for in your life. And a lot of you need to make very hard choices. They're not easy decisions to make, but you know in your soul that you need to make these decisions because they are no longer serving you. And when something no longer serves you, that is energy that you are expending, and that is anchoring you to a lower vibrational frequency. And that lower vibrational frequency, if you are there for an extended period of time, will then become your vibrational frequency. And as light workers, we are supposed to help the others come to the light. And if you are constantly stuck in a perpetual state of lower vibrational frequency, it is extremely difficult for you to then do the work that you were meant to do, walk the path that you were meant to walk. And when you are not in alignment with your soul's mission, walking that path, it is very taxing energetically, emotionally, and physically because you are not in alignment with the soul contract that you had written before you came into this incarnation. And so the message today is really to look at your life. Where are certain areas of your life that you know you need to make adjustments? And they may be small adjustments. They may be not scrolling social media for 20 minutes a day, and it may be reading that book that you wanted to read, or learning something new, or taking a walk outside. Or they could be monumental adjustments that completely change the trajectory of your life. But this is the message, is to go through your life with a fine-tooth comb. Because there are energies and consciousness that are coming to our existence. And if you are at a lower vibrational frequency, those energies and that consciousness will not be able to reach you in the capacity that it is meant to reach you at. And those of you who find this message, you know deep within your soul that you reincarnated in this existence to help raise the vibrational frequency of humanity, shift consciousness to a higher level. And there's a lot of you who are still playing small. And that playing small is not going to benefit you or anyone else for that matter. We feel we have spoken harshly on that matter. But again, it comes from a place of divine love. And that divine love is guidance. It is to help take the rose-colored glasses off and see the truth of the matter. Because again, we are at a point in humanity where the scales need to tip the other way. And if we are not doing that work, there will be this imbalance. And this imbalance will continue to be felt by all. And there will be more chaos and more destruction that happens when it doesn't go back into balance, when it doesn't tip the other way. And this has been happening for millennia. It tips one way, it tips the other. That is just the balance of nature. It is always trying to get to a state of homeostasis. But every time it tips one way or the other, humanity's consciousness is raised. And each one of your souls are then, if you are doing the work, correction, each one of your souls, if you are doing the work, then raises your vibrational frequency and you become more enlightened. And you reincarnate into another lifetime to learn more things, to evolve. And while the work that you do and that you sign up for at a soul level is never easy, and we want to acknowledge that most light workers, the majority of you, have not lived easy existences. But you sign up for those existences. You sign up for those experiences because you are able to learn and grow and help others through those same challenges, those same traumas, those same experiences. You cannot help somebody without experiencing a certain situation and coming out of the other side. It's just not possible. People do it all the time, but they don't have that deep resonance with the other soul. They don't have that energetic connection of knowing that they are cut from the same cloth. And so most of those people, while they do that work, it is not sustainable. It doesn't last because the receiving end, even on an unconscious level or a subconscious level, knows that the experiences that they did not have can't actually help their soul evolve. The receiving end person's soul, they cannot evolve the way that they need to evolve. And so we don't want you to feel triggered by the message of the unconscious behaviors, of the situations that no longer serve you, because there is a purpose for everything. Everything is a learning experience. Everything is a lesson. And each situation or each habit that is no longer serving you, that you are continuing that perpetual cycle, is a learning moment. It is at the pinnacle of something else to come into your life. But it's listening to your soul speak the truth and following through those messages. And we understand a lot of these topics that we are being very vague on because you know as a soul exactly what we are speaking to. But we understand that a lot of these specific situations are out of habit, and you don't even realize that you are continuing this pattern of staying in a marriage that no longer serves you, or staying in a job where it is completely toxic and you know that your talents are best served elsewhere. It is a habitual cycle that you have lived out through multiple years and maybe your whole life, and it's not something that you were aware of until this moment in time. And so don't beat yourself up over that. Don't shame yourself or guilt yourself into thinking you are less than. Give yourself grace and understand that you are finally coming into a place of consciousness about this situation. And consciously think about the lessons that you are learning through these particular situations and how you will evolve into the next one. That is all we have for our message, Stephen. What questions does the collective have?
All right. Good evening, Archangel Michael.
Good
Thank,
evening.
thank you for being here with us. So, just to kind of recap and summarize the gist of the message that you just brought through, basically, we're getting in our own way here with unconscious patterns of behavior that most of it is just habitual. And if we were to really start getting gritty with ourselves and break these patterns, it would create the space for everything that's trying to come into our life for us to be of greater service.
Oh, yes, we couldn't have explained it more beautifully in a shorter amount of time. That is exactly what we are saying. The universe wants to provide you with everything that you desire, everything that you pray for, everything that you wish for. It is there. It is an abundant amount of resources, an unlimited amount of resources. But you are getting in your way. You are not answering the call of your soul, of the divine. And so, yes, coming into and stepping into your personal divinity and allowing the messages to flow through you, your soul's message. And we are speaking of your soul. We're not speaking about guides and angels like us who are bringing messages, although those are also important. Those are an added bonus. But your soul is the one that we are particularly speaking about in this message. And yes, you are correct. You are getting in your way of all of the things that want to come through for you, all of your desires out of fear, out of shame, out of lack.
And how would you describe or define an unconscious behavior?
That is a great question. And unconscious behavior is one that is a perpetual cycle of the same activity, the same habitual pattern, with the questioning of why is this always happening to me? How come things never change? Why am I always finding people who abuse me? Or why am I constantly in a job that does not recognize my gifts, my abilities? Why am I not getting paid the amount that I should be getting paid for my gifts and my talents? And while all of those broad, they're on a broad span. Some are way over here and some are a little bit less of a habitual pattern. But it's the unconscious without accountability, because you are the creator of your life. And that creation comes through you and only you. Others may play a factor, but that creation is yours. And we do want to speak on very traumatic situations, Because a lot of light workers, a lot of us who are doing this work to raise the consciousness of humanity go through very traumatic situations. And while they are horrific and they are not acceptable, what happened to you in any shape or form was not okay, is not okay, never will be okay. But again, your soul at a soul level, not a human level, a soul level, signed up for every single scenario in your life to help you evolve. And it's how you come out of those situations, how you raise above the lower vibrational frequencies, and what you do with how you have come out of those situations. A lot of souls will have very traumatic situations happen to them and stay in a perpetual state of woe is me. And while that is absolutely acceptable, you have free will. You can do whatever you wish to do with your time here on earth. But there are other souls who come out on top and they will create, for an example, a nonprofit organization that helps the masses based on their traumatic situation. And they are standing in their power. They are allowing their soul to speak through them and listening to the whispers of them or the yelling of their soul that this needs to happen for the collective. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And would you say that the unconscious behaviors are almost an avoidance of fully addressing and working through more of those pain or trauma-based events that are waiting to be recognized and alchemized in our systems?
Absolutely. Every single traumatic event that you experience can either go into the subconscious place and create lessons for you to heal from those situations, or it can come into the consciousness and you can allow yourself to work through those in a shorter fashion. But again, it all depends on the environment that you are in. And most of the traumatic events that happen as a child, adolescent, teen, those ones are the ones that go into the subconscious space in your existence because the environment usually does not allow you to have this space. It does not foster a sense of security for you to feel like you can heal from these particular scenarios. So you bury those emotions, you bury those traumatic situations. And then as you are an adult, certain patterns and situations start to reappear in your life. And that is where your job as a adult is to work through those traumas and really dig deep and see how each event, each situation has created every single lesson for you. And we say lesson because a lot of people think of them as negative occurrences, but everything that happens is a lesson. And the conscious ones are the ones who start to scratch the surface of their consciousness, will look at these events and say, okay, there is a pattern here. I've lost my job 5 times because of tardiness. How can I adjust this? And then they'll start looking at different patterns in their life, and everything will start to unfold if they are ready. That is another key point here. If you are not ready, these situations will still play out in your life. But most of the people we are talking to and most of the souls who will find this message are ready. And that is the message of truth that we are bringing through, is that when you get a nudge, when you feel in your soul like something needs to shift, That is the behavior that we want you to highlight.
Thank you. Now, using the word lesson, would another way of saying that be an invitation to a higher level of awareness?
Yes, absolutely. Because when you go through any situation, it is how you respond the next time it comes up. And we say next time because the universe will always check. There's checks and balances. You dot your I's, you cross your T's, and the universe will do that for you to make sure that you have learned your lesson, to make sure that you are coming into a conscious awareness of that. Because every lesson, every situation, every experience is for the benefit of you evolving your soul. That is why your souls come to earth, is to evolve, is to have a human experience, is to indulge. But sometimes the indulgences that are here on earth sway people way too far away from their soul's path. And we are not saying you cannot indulge. We are not saying that you cannot live the human experience, but it is how you are going about it energetically that makes the difference. What is your intention while you are having the experience? And so, if a certain situation, for example, you put out your trash on the day of the collection of garbage and you forget to put out the recycle, but that was the recycle day. Next week comes around and you forget to put out recycle again. This is a simple metaphor to the greater picture here, but garbage day is always going to come. These lessons are always going to come. But are you going to put out the recycle next week because you forgot the recycle the previous week? And that is really what we want to showcase in this metaphor, is that the universe will always bring lessons, events, situations for you to learn. But if you are not conscious enough and trying to raise that vibrational frequency, to get to a higher state of consciousness, you are going to continuously miss putting out the recycle, which is an important thing to do. You need to release the trash, the garbage from one's soul. And if you are not doing that, it is going to back up. And again, we are talking from a metaphoric state, but every time a lesson comes through and you are not bringing it to the conscious awareness, there's a frequency with that, because then you are stuck in a stagnation. You are stuck in a place of not growing. And that, again, is the human experience also. That is why your souls come here, is to grow, is to learn. And so while you are here, again, it is all about creation and how you live your existence.
Gorgeous. Thank you so much. And the reason I was asking about the word lesson versus like the verbiage of an invitation to a higher level of awareness, I feel like a lot of us, like the word like lesson, like the universe is trying to teach us a lesson, comes with the connotation of a lived experience around like punitive energies in our lives, where parents or teachers or like power sources in our life would teach us a lesson via punishment. And I feel like in our society, there's like an inbred level of like fear around punishment from God or punishment from the universe. And so, what I'm hearing you saying with the metaphor of the trash can, like the garbage man is never punishing you by not picking up the recycle. The garbage man just is doing its route. It's almost like a very neutral thing. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Everything that comes through source, through God, through the universe is divine love. Each and every one of you is absolutely perfect in your existence. Every option that you have, every choice that you make, you will always be loved. That is never a question. And so if you choose to never put out the recycle, you will always be seen in the eyes of God through love. But again, how do you want to spend your existence here? And that is a key point. And we greatly appreciate how you worded that and bringing that to, again, the consciousness, because it is a concept that is often flipped in the wrong direction because of the traumas and the experiences that people have with the parental figures or authority figures. And so when a lesson comes up, it is out of a place of love. It is always out of a place of love. And it is how you view the situation that changes that and shifts the energy around those situations or lessons that you experience.
So then rather than, oh, woe is me, oh my gosh, this keeps happening, it's thank you so much. What am I being shown here? What's the invitation here?
Yes, 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 yes.
Gorgeous. Thank you. All right, shifting gears a little bit now to some of the group questions. We've got one here around how can we release fears and low vibration emotions that are holding back my consciousness? Are there any specific affirmations or mantras that we can use to anchor in higher frequencies?
What a great question. And it is the answer is very simple. And we are going to keep it very simple because any fear, anxiety, low vibrational frequencies that you are carrying is your choice. And I know that probably doesn't sit well with many, but again, your life is your creation. And so the fear and the anxiety and the lower vibrational frequencies that you are holding on to are anchoring you in the past. They are anchoring you in the future. You are not living in the current experience of the present. And the present, more times than not, those fears, the anxiety, the guilt, the shame, whatever the emotion is that you were holding onto doesn't exist because you are creating those thoughts and those patterns in your mind by living in one way or the other. And so our direction to release those is to truly, again, look at the truth of where the fear is coming from. Where is that rooted in? Where is that shame rooted in? And why are you holding on to it as a lifeline? We have more to say, but Laura is struggling with this message because she deals with this also. Please hold. So we will look at the emotion of fear as an example. But when you have fear of something, it more times than not holds you back from whatever it is you are trying to accomplish. And the majority of humanity will be stuck in that fear and they will not budge. They will not move out of sheer fear. But they are a fraction, a small fraction of people who will move through that fear. And they will do whatever the situation is despite of the fear. And it is that simple action of moving through the fear, of moving through the guilt or the shame, or whatever lower vibrational frequency that you are holding on to, moving through those emotions. When you get to the other side of the lived experience, you look back and you realize that that fear was just that. It was an emotion that you created. It was an emotion that you were holding on to. But it's not something that you actually need to hold on to. More times than not, it is something that was passed down to you. It was something that was said by a parent, an authority figure, and you took that belief on of, I need to hold fear in this situation. I need to be shameful of this situation. I need to feel guilty because of this reaction that I had to a situation. But if you are living a life of love, if you are living a life on your soul's path, you will realize that when you stay in the present moment, all of those emotions, all of those situations do not serve. They are created by the ego, they are created by the pain body to keep you stuck. And so, again, every single message that we bring through to you, we bring through with so much love. And this isn't to guilt or shame you for holding on to these emotions, the fear. This is to shed light to a situation that it is truly you who can overcome these emotions, who can overcome these situations by moving through them.
So to put more words around like, okay, like I'll just get over these emotions or I'll just move through them. Like, can we have a bit more clarity around what that looks like? My perspective of the emotions and the pain body is it being like a very real thing. And it's important to avoid bypassing where we just ignore stuff down and try and like anchor in as much love and light on top of them. Instead, I understand the process of acknowledging that pain, feeling it to free it and vacate it from our system. Is that a process you would say is valid? Is that overcomplicating it or is that oversimplifying it?
Neither. That is exactly the truth. And we do apologize. We didn't seem correction. We didn't want the message to seem like you mask the fear, like you mask the shame or guilt or whatever the emotion is that you are feeling. You are absolutely correct. You have to feel these emotions. You have to allow yourself to fully feel. And that is the key here is that most of these emotions that you are holding on to, you feel and you suppress. You do not feel and release. And that is the key point is feeling and releasing. But the releasing usually happens on the other side when you realize that the situation of fear or shame or guilt or whatever the emotions are that you are formulating through this experience are ones that are created that are not actually as big or grand as they may seem. But the mind, the ego, will constantly create those situations to make them a mountain out of a molehill. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You are welcome.
So, tying this back to then the unconscious behaviors. And the unconscious behaviors, I almost see them as like an autopilot programming that we do as a wonderful way of keeping those emotions suppressed. And now we're talking about the process of moving through these emotions is to feel them and release them, and also setting down, rewriting these unconscious behaviors to create the space for the energies and the consciousnesses that are waiting to move through us. I want to talk about or ask you now about the concept of the void and the void space, where the the place of stillness, the place of quote unquote darkness, the place of like liminal zero point creation. Is that the way I see it is like we set down these unconscious behaviors and we have to have a little bit of time in the void to allow the space for those new patterns and consciousness to birth through us. Can you speak to this? Is this on key? Is it something different?
No, you are correct. There is a moment in time, there is a space when you clear out lower vibrational frequencies, when you move through situations of a traumatic stature, when you release things that you have been holding on to for a lifetime, there absolutely is space that needs to be held for the vibrational frequencies and the higher consciousness to come through and messages from your guides and loved ones to be downloaded. But the void is actually a space where most souls often go when they astroplane or when they project themselves out of the consciousness. If you are in deep, deep meditation, transcendental meditation, more times than not, you go to the void. You go to a space in that existence because you are able to center yourself and truly be with your soul, truly be with the consciousness of the universe that has all of the answers and none of them at the same time. That is the beauty of the void, is it is everything and nothing. And that experience and that existence happens only when you are truly conscious of going to that place. So you are correct in a sense, but more times than not, when you are releasing things and when you are moving through traumas and experiences, you're not actually going to the void. Your soul is already there, but you make a conscious choice when you are doing certain activities to go to the void. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that clarity. And I think maybe the void isn't the right word for what I'm trying to describe here, but almost like the pause in between. Because what I've noticed is we set down these unconscious behaviors, we create more space in our life for these higher levels of energy and consciousness to move through us. And it's not always, is it always an immediate thing? Is it always like an immediate, like, boom, then there's the next thing there? I found that it's been like there's been a pause, there's a gap. That's what I'm kind of referring to as the pause space, where we have to set down the unconscious behavior of scrolling on the phone or watching TV for a certain period of time. And sometimes it's longer than others, but a certain period of time to create enough space for those new things to come through, as it's not always like an immediate like turnover.
We appreciate your clarification on that because it is based on the individual. But yes, absolutely, there is a space where the habitual pattern needs to be rewritten. You, as humans, have neural connections, and those neural connections need to be rewrote. And so there is, yes, absolutely a pause. There is a space that needs to take place for it to solidify to no longer being that habitual pattern. And then something else needs to come into existence. That is just how the balance of that works, because there is an energy about the habitual pattern and what you would like to do with that time, space, effort, and energy that you are no longer spending on the habitual pattern. But there is that space in between where you make a conscious decision to then shift your energy in a different direction.
Thank you. So, shifting gears again a little bit, at the beginning of the message before the dialogue with me and you started, you were talking a little bit about certain consciousnesses that are like that are coming in right now, that are wanting to access us, but we have to reach a certain vibrational frequency in order to be able to truly receive what they're here to bring us. What are these consciousnesses? Like what's going on? What's the tea? Who's here?
Oh, that is a great question. And this does actually go back to the conversation that you and Laura were having yesterday about the comet or the extraterrestrial that is coming to Earth. And what that is truly on a conscious level, energy, vibrational frequencies, and downloads for the existence of humanity. And the light workers who are conscious and open and doing the work and releasing and allowing the light to come through will be the first ones to get the download at the highest degree. And that's not to say that if you are not doing the work and you're not solely on your path, you will not get a download of this higher vibrational frequency, this higher consciousness. But this is what we talk about when we talk about the message of truth. And where is your soul speaking to you to release what no longer serves? Because when you release, you are then making space for more to come in. You are making space for your gifts and abilities to shine through. And so, when we talk about the release, when we talk about these unconscious behaviors, it is for the benefit of humanity, because these higher vibrational frequencies and this higher consciousness that is going to be coming, that is coming to our existence, has been written by each and every single soul on this planet, because we are here to shift the vibrational frequency and shift the scales to raise the consciousness of humanity.
So for everybody watching, the comet that we're talking about is called Three Eye Atlas. Can you share more about like where it's coming from? Okay, so we know that it's this higher level of consciousness coming to bring new energy, but who sent it? Where did it come from? What's at play here?
So again, every single soul who is in this existence and time brought it here. You all, as you reincarnated into this lifetime, put that in your soul contract. You put that in the conscious existence that this is what is needed to move in the right direction. And the light workers, more specifically, the ones who came with a very specific mission, the ones who have reincarnated and done the deep work and raised their vibrational frequency to a level that is a higher consciousness than the unconscious souls. And we want to be very clear here that there is no less love for the unconscious souls than there is for the more conscious souls. And it is not a level of who is great, who is better, or who is greater than. It is just the matter of facts. It is saying the sky is blue and the grass is green. There is nothing wrong with green grass. There is nothing wrong with a blue sky. There is nothing wrong with a gray sky. There is nothing wrong with brown grass. They are just facts of the matter. But the point is, every single soul here in this point in time has brought this vibrational frequency here. And so it really doesn't matter if it's a comet, what the name is, what you want to call it. It is a vibrational frequency. It is a consciousness that everybody signed up for in this moment in time, because humanity knows that it needs to reach the next level. It is currently at a state where we are bursting at the seams, and this existence can no longer stay in this plane. And so the ascended masters, the universe, God, is of course assisting with the energy and the frequency that is coming to make sure that it is at the stature that is needed for this moment in time. But it is not some grand gesture of a force that is not at a collective level coming because you all chose it to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's not other. It's not other. It's like it's us.
Correct.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We do actually want to say one more thing about this vibrational frequency, because those of you on the call who are conscious and who are listening and who are doing the work will be downloaded with the vibrational frequency at a quicker rate. And that quicker rate is to allow you to help the unconscious souls. That is to allow you to help raise the vibrational frequency of planet Earth. And so, again, this isn't going to happen at light speed. This isn't going to take a few weeks. It is going to take a few years to allow the consciousness to fully integrate to where it needs to be. But we want to assure you that if you are listening to your soul's truth, and if you are doing the work of releasing and feeling and releasing, that you will make space for this consciousness. You will make space to fulfill your mission. You will make space to allow the abundance of the universe to come into your life because abundance is not something to be feared. Abundance is something that you need to help the souls that you are supposed to help. It is just, again, a matter of fact. You need the vibrational frequency of money to assist those to continue to exist in the space where you can assist those souls. And so, if you are doing the work, know that when this comes through, that when this passes, you will feel more strongly the effects of the consciousness that is going to be downloaded in you. And it may turn your life in disarray because the disarray that is happening is actually, again, as we speak of, things that no longer serve you. And it may not even be things that are a habitual habit or a negative habit. They may just be things that no longer serve because better things are coming into your existence. So we want you to be very clear and very open to possibilities that you may not have thought of previously. If you feel the urge to do something, but it is out of character, that is your soul speaking to you because something is greater there for you.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
So, just another quick note on these like interstellar things that our souls called in. The three-eye atlas is coming from like a point in space that's like within 9 degrees of that radio signal, the wow signal that came in 1977. Would is along these lines, was the wow signal, was that radio frequency that came from outer space just like a more beginning stage of what this is? Was that like another iteration of this, but just, I don't want to say less advanced, but like a beginner soul contract thing that we called in, or was that something totally different?
No, they are absolutely aligned. And it is really it was more of a beacon of energy to awaken the souls who are supposed to be doing this work because up until that time, a lot of the light workers were still hiding their gifts. A lot of the light workers still were not comfortable coming into the light and sharing their experiences, sharing their existence. And once that kind of came out, that beacon of energy, it was really to ding, enlighten and awaken those souls to then get out and help the souls that they were supposed to help. And if you look in history, not too long after that is when meditation started to be more mainstream. And we say mainstream because it wasn't like it is today, but yoga started to come out. And there were just different modalities where people could really gather together in an energetic space to help and to continue raising the vibrational frequency. But as you realize today, more of those things are so mainstream and more of those things are more Laura's struggling with the word. The word does not matter, but more of those things are at a collective level approachable. You can find them more easily. But back then, something needed to come and shake those up who were supposed to be starting the work, who were supposed to be the crusaders of this consciousness that is coming.
Amazing. So now speaking to the note you made around, having financial abundance is a tool and a resource for us to then go out and serve and reach and help more souls. I feel like finances and money, especially in the spiritual community, there's such it almost feels like a poverty vow or like a poverty grid that we're hooked into, or money is just such a like thing that's so hard for so many people. What can you share with us in terms of what we can all do, especially as light workers, to get better at that? And like really, like, how do we find the balance between spirit and the material world of like needing to pay bills and make money and like do the things?
That is a great question. And there's really two sides to the coin here. A lot of what is felt is because light workers are intuitive, they are empaths, and they truly want to help souls. And they can feel the energy of the souls who need to be helped. And a lot of those souls are so lost that they may be in a financial state that is not of abundance, but they know they need the help. And so those light workers want to assist those, but they are not having the same energetic exchange. And it really comes from a place of trust that you can help somebody and also get the financial benefits from it. And we're not saying don't help those who can't afford your services. You can definitely have certain times or sales with your business or with your clients where you allow a lower monetary value for your services to assist, but you have to be in the proper energetic space to do that because the energy exchange needs to be coming from a place of gratitude, not from a place of lack or not from a place of guilt. And I think that's really where the difference is. And what you're getting at is a lot of light workers feel guilty about charging for their services. But we say this, does a doctor ever feel guilty for sending you a bill? No, that is the doctor's price. Here is the bill. You pay it. Insurance may or may not pay it, depending on how great your insurance is. And that is the reality of the situation. And that is kind of how you need to look at your business as well. This is your fee. Your client will pay it. The other half of the coin, though, is really past lives. And a lot of light workers were guilted and put into places of submission, even killed for their gifts and their abilities. And so there is a level of past lives and negative energetic frequencies, should we say, densities that are still within your soul, within your lived experiences from past lives that are coming through to this life. And so if you are experiencing the guilt that comes from charging for your services or charging out of a place of lack, that needs to be further looked into because there is things that need to be removed so that you can allow abundance into your life. But again, that goes back to the previous conversation, the previous question that we had about fear and guilt and shame and moving through those, feeling those, releasing, and then still charging for your services.
Would you say, on top of this, like aside from charging from our services, I feel like this pattern of giving more than we get might be alive in other areas of our life. Do you think it would behoove us to clean up other places in our life where the energetic exchange is imbalanced, where we're giving more than we're getting out of people-pleasing patterns, out of fear of fill in the blank?
Absolutely. That is the message here, releasing what no longer serves. And if you are a habitual people pleaser and your soul is telling you your body, your physical existence is screaming at you, that is your key to clean that up and release it. Yes, absolutely.
Amazing. And I feel like with that comes like this like scarcity mindset of, well, I better keep giving here because at least I'm getting something, even though my soul or my body might be screaming like this doesn't feel good, like you deserve better. But there's like a scarcity mindset of like, well, if I let this go, I ain't gonna get anything else, so I better hold on here. How
Yes,
do how do we manage that? How do we let go of the scarcity mindset? What's like underneath that?
it is again fear, shame. guilt, lower vibrational frequencies that are holding you and anchoring you in that particular mindset, in that particular situation, in that particular existence. And it is going through those feelings, getting to the root of the scarcity. Where is that coming from? Is that coming from something internally? Is that coming from your lineage? Was that something that your mother and father continued the pattern from their parents? Or do you feel at a deeper soul level that it is something from past lives? It is truly getting to the root cause of whatever it is where this scarcity, where this lack, where this guilt and shame and fear come from. Because those are the experiences that need to be released. Those are the things that no longer serve us. And so, yes, this scarcity mindset does not serve you. And if you know that whatever the pattern is that doesn't serve you, because again, there is a level of consciousness that needs to be had when these scenarios come up. But if you know that that does not serve you, what are you doing to get to the root cause? What are you doing to change that pattern, to change that habit, to change that existence? It is a conscious thought that needs to play out. And it doesn't have to be something of a grand scale from the beginning. Everything can be small incremental steps to get to where you need to go. That is where most things happen. Most things just don't happen overnight. You have to build a strong foundation for the next level to stand on. And so, if you are having these calls, these feelings that something is no longer serving you, start getting curious, start asking why, start questioning every single existence, every single experience, every single feeling, and what is going on when you have these experiences. That is why we are asking you to go through your life with a fine-tooth comb, because there is multiple scenarios, situations, events in your life that no longer serve. And that no longer serves needs to be released, because again, the consciousness that is coming needs space to be integrated. And if you are not removing anything for this to come in, it will not serve you. It will only complicate the situation even more, because you signed up for this consciousness. You signed up for the first, shall we say, layer of consciousness. As a light worker, again, you will be the one that is downloaded. And there are light workers who will be downloaded very quickly because of the work that they are doing to release those inner demons, to release the feelings and the situations that no longer serve. But if you are one of the souls and you know it, and you are here listening to this message, you know that you are supposed to clean things out, because that consciousness is supposed to be integrated within you at the time when it goes through our solar system, when it passes through Earth, and when it gets to the consciousness of humanity.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So I had touched base with Laura about the call, and we were going to do about an hour from beginning of your message, and we've reached an hour. So I want to close things out here, but I want to ask like one final, is there anything else that needs to be said today regarding any clarification or furthering the message that you started with?
We feel that we have said everything that we can possibly say, but we will try to wrap it up in one final statement. Listen to the truth of your soul that is trying to come through you. And the truths that are trying to come through are there to clear out what no longer serves. And the clearing out of what no longer serves may or may not happen overnight, but it is the release and the full feeling of the emotions, situations, or experiences to then release and integrate the consciousness that is coming through. And that will help you align to your soul's path. That will help you feel more fulfilled in your life, and that will help you feel less imbalanced in your existence. We thank you all for your time, and as always, Stephen, thank you so much for your thoughtful questions.
We leave you with light and love.
Thank you so much.